Have you guys made a decision yet?
I don't even know who this guy is. He just looked so comfortable. I wanted to try it out.
The Mattress Gallery at Crandall's Home Furnishings. The brands you're looking for at the price you want. In memory foam, pillow top, and more. Crandall's Home Furnishings. Always home to the ultimate value.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, we just talked about Catholic and Reidland. The opposite game in the bracket of that game is Caldwell, Hancock County. Hancock County went down to Caldwell. This was a game we thought was a toss-up on paper. And early on, it looks like Hancock's just going to have too much for Caldwell. They jump out to the 2-touchdown lead.
Yep.
And then the Hornets just, shoot themselves in the foot every which way they can.
Yep.
Caldwell winds up 42-21 winners. How much of that did that surprise you?
The margin surprised me. The fact that Caldwell County wound up winning didn't surprise me too much, just because they're the home team. And I told you last week, Scott, this is a team with a lot of tradition. This is a town that's a high school football town. They show up in big numbers, especially in the playoffs when they feel like that they have a chance to advance. So, no, the fact that Caldwell won wasn't that much of a surprise, but the fact that the way they dominated them after Hancock County went out to a 21-8 lead,
yes.
And then after that it's 34 unanswered points by Caldwell County, that did surprise me. Yeah.
Well, let's put a wrap on three teams here that also finished up their season last week. Let's start with Apollo going to Male. Apollo 52-0 losers in that game. Mm-hmm. Assess Apollo's season.
Very disappointing. I think that they would say that. I mean, I don't think I'm speaking out of school here at all. I think that they expected more from themselves out there this year. I think that their talent would suggest that they would be better than 2-9, is I guess what they finished.
Yes.
I just think that was a disappointing season for Apollo, and they've got to reassess some things out there. And obviously, you get beat 52-0 in the first round of the playoffs. That's not where you want your program to be,
right.
And Coach Bates would be the first to say that.
I mean, obviously, Male, very good program.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
But the thing is, this is the second straight year Apollo has had a disappointing season,
and let me
so we're on a kind of a run there.
Let me point something out, too. Male does have a good program,
Yes.
And you can say, yeah, well, Male, you have to play them in Louisville, etc. But if you take care of business during the regular season, you don't get this matchup.
Right.
You get a much better matchup, a much more competitive matchup. So the fact that Male wound up playing Apollo in the playoffs is really an indication of Apollo's regular season, and some games they probably felt like they should have won in the district that would have kept them out of this 1-4 matchup.
Right.
Yeah.
McLean County goes to Russellville. McLean loses 47-6. McLean ends the year winless, 0-11. Assess McLean County's season, which by all regards was a very difficult season for the Cougars.
Well, it was a very difficult season, as opposed to, say, Apollo, though I don't think that there was any surprises here. We knew that this was going to be a tough year for McLean. They lost a bunch of quality players from a very good team last year. They also lost their head coach, and Coach McCammon took this job very late in the game. And so just that transition was going to be a little bit shaky anyway. Even if they had good talent, it would be shaky with the coach coming in that late. The fact is, I thought the thing about McLean, they went 0-11 and they lose 47-6 here, but I never got the sense that this team ever quit fighting.
No.
And I think that it bodes well for their future. Not sure exactly. I haven't studied the roster to see who comes back and everything next year, or how their younger players are, freshmen below that. I'm not sure exactly what they have, but I do think Coach McCammon established a work ethic down there that will pay off eventually. It might not be next year, but it could be the following year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm excited to see where McLean heads from here.
Yeah.
Because I do think the groundwork was laid this year, maybe not from an X and O standpoint, but just the groundwork of, he taught the kids, this is what you got to do,
Yeah.
this is how you got to work and all that.
Exactly.
Not that Marshall Enoch did.
No.
Marshall Enoch
Mark
did a great job with that
excellent.
program.
Yep.
But I think David is continuing
Yes.
what the groundwork Marshall said. And I think we're going to see the Cougars back. Now, it might take 2 or 3 years.
I agree.
But I think we are
Yeah.
going to see them come back.
I think so.
Ohio County goes down to Bowling Green to play Warren Central. They get beat 52-0.
Mm-hmm.
Assess Ohio's season, and let me ask you this. Was Ohio's season a success solely on the fact that they broke that long losing streak, and, you got to take baby steps before you can walk?
Yeah, they, I will give Ohio County some credit because they won a game that they shouldn't have won, really. They beat Hopkinsville, so you've got to give them credit for that. Where their program is as far as, for next year and everything, that's still a little bit up in the air, I think, as far as how competitive they can be. you know, they do have Cody Murphy back. You know,
And
he'll have
that's a
him
great
back.
starting block
It sure
right there.
is. And you know, he'll be, this will be his senior year coming up next year. And that's a great person to build around. And they've got some other talent around him, too. You know, it is a step in the right direction. It really is, and you have to give them some credit for that. I thought this game might be a little bit closer than this, but I think it's the 52-0 score is more of an indication of where Warren Central is right now than it is Ohio County.
Yes.
I think that Warren Central is really one of the hottest teams in the state right now. You know, they beat Bowling Green 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right.
That's a huge win for them, and I think that Warren Central right now just thinks that they can beat anybody. And the result here, 52-0, means that they stayed on course and took care of business.
Right. Well, let's talk about the game coming up, the lone game we have coming up this Friday, which is Caldwell County coming in here to Steel Stadium to play Owensboro Catholic.
Yep.
What's your early assessment of that game?
Well, I think that this is a dangerous game for Catholic. I think that, you know, I think that Caldwell County will come in here with a lot of confidence. Hancock County is a very good football team, Scott, and Hancock really played Catholic very well on the Steel Stadium turf. That game was a 37-20 game, but it was really much closer than that, much more competitive than that score would indicate. And I think that Caldwell County will come in here believing they can win this game. Now, whether or not they can win the game will be another story. But I think that this will be a really strong challenge, and I think Coach Edge knows that.
Do you feel like Catholic's going to get tested on one side of the ball more than the other?
I think their defense will be tested in this game. I think, you know, when you're at the 2A level and you have a very quality running back and a very quality quarterback, okay, you can do a lot of damage, and Caldwell has that. And that really hurt Hancock. Those guys did a lot of damage. Sigler, their quarterback, is very good. And this will test, you know, Catholic, as well as they played this past week, it's going to test their defense. They're going to have to step up and stop this bunch because that's they play a spread just like Catholic.
Right.
And so they're a wide open offense, and they've got some weapons of their own. So, and one more thing to mention. David Barnes is the coach of Caldwell County, and I will promise you he's not going to bring a team back to Owensboro. He was the former Davis County coach, and if you think he'll bring back a team to Owensboro unprepared, you got another thing coming. They will be ready to play thinking they can win this game.
The winner of this game gets the winner of Fort Campbell Murray. That's this coming week. Fort Campbell going to Murray. Murray's ranked number 1.
Yep.
Everybody knows Fort Campbell's tradition,
Right.
multi-state winner. How do you see that game? Is Fort Campbell like that snake laying over in the grass that you got to be real careful about? Or is Murray just too strong, you think, this year?
Well, I would agree with you really on both counts. I think Murray is very strong, but I also think Fort Campbell, if they, you know, a lot of it just depends on which team shows up because they really just brutalized Hancock County on the road and then went back home and got shut out 34-0 by Catholic. They're just a hard team to figure. They will be ready for this game, though, and I say Murray could have their hands full, as good as they are. And I'm really a big believer in Murray, by the way, but I'm just telling you that Fort Campbell, you know, we're now in the playoffs, and this is their territory.
Right.
They've won 3 consecutive state championships, and they think it's theirs until somebody takes it away from them, and that's what Murray's going to have to do this week or somebody along the line.
If the seeds hold, we're looking at Murray coming to Steel Stadium a week from this coming Friday for the regional championship game. That's number 1 Murray against number 3 Owensboro Catholic. That probably would be potentially the game of the week in the whole state.
It could be.
I mean, that's going to be a great game.
It could be because that would be a really classic matchup. I mean, Catholic is fortunate that game falls at home, you know, this year because that's not one you'd want to play at Murray as good as they are. But yeah, if it's Murray at Catholic, I mean, boy, that's one. And you know, none of our other teams, of course, they're already gone. So I would expect a huge crowd by just your not just your Catholic fans around here, but a lot of real true football fans would go to that game because you know, that's a matchup of you know, just 2 heavyweights, no question about it, if we get there.
Yeah, I hope we do.
Yeah, I do too.
That's you know, that's while we're riding now is that Catholic. I mean, that's all we have
That's
left.
what I hope happens.
Well, this is it for the Gridiron Report for the 2010 season. Now, of course, we're going to have full coverage of Owensboro Catholic's run, however far they go in the postseason, in the Daily Messenger-Inquirer. And like I say, we hope that's all the way to the state championship. And I really believe it's a team that has that kind of potential. But for our 2010 Gridiron Report show, this is the final broadcast. We do want to thank our sponsors, Crandall's Home Furnishings and Carpets Unlimited, for being with us all season. We want to thank our crew here at OCTV. They've done a great job for us all season. And just follow the Aces run all the way, hopefully, to Bowling Green State Championship, and we will be with them every step of the way and have full coverage every step of the way. So until next season, we will see you.